think that a lot of people will be feeling different after the Lion's Gate. Now, it's like these things are energetic, they're unseen. A lot of how we feel on any given day comes from our internal states, and that can come from what we realize consciously in our mental realm. And so the combination of everything that has been happening and changing throughout the first part of the year and thinking about what's coming, this is like a turning point for allowing, I'm seeing a television program that is, I don't know what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like an ink blotter, and it's dropping these like pearlescent drops onto a black and white reel of film, and it turns it colorized when it touches upon contact. So there's something about saturating these dormant or grayscale parts of our awareness in the wake of this energy that helps us feel a little more fully realized. But it's not that simple, because there's an aspect and an element of it that is a little bit disorienting, because what we know about fear is that it's a primal instinct designed to protect us. And when we have trigger responses that aren't based in compassion and love for our creation and our expansion of self, we understand that these responses don't serve us, they limit us. We're reacting to things that aren't necessarily based in reality. And when we have those responses with a new level of awareness, it feels really uncomfortable, but it begins to show us how there are these, now I'm seeing those, it's a kid's toy. It's little, it's these little bendable wands of wax that you can make into little structures. So it's like we realize that we can bend the bounds of our reality so that we don't react in these similar ways. But my whole point in recording this is that there's going to be some potential fear feelings, and I don't even know what I mean when I say that. Just you'll be witnessing yourself have these reactions, and it's not because something is suddenly wrong. It's not because you are deviating. It's because you're coming more fully onto quote unquote the way, like the Tao, like the Dharma, like your wheel and humanity's wheel, our collective wheel is spinning. And now I'm seeing like people getting vertigo and amusement park rides. I don't like the spinny ones. I like roller coasters and adrenaline. But anyway, it's a little bit of a collective nausea. And it's interesting because I'm being reminded of a message that I brought forth in late December or early January with the 2024 prophetic videos, where I was talking about Q3 is going to be a break. I said that a lot because I didn't really get a lot of information about it, but I also was talking about how it's going to feel like a time where there's a lot of motion outside of us, like something was moving in a high state of velocity and then it stopped suddenly. And that can lead to that kind of like whirling feeling of surrealness, like the inside doesn't match the outside, or the outside doesn't match the inside, and we might be feeling all chaotic internally and outside there's not much movement, or vice versa. And again, the message is just coming forth around integration and allowing yourself to realize what you're realizing and feel what you're feeling, because on the other side of that complex web is clarity and a new way of being, right? There's also, now I'm seeing, and I see this a lot, or I was seeing this last summer, somebody in a riverbed turning flat rocks over, and we don't want to leave any stones unturned. It's very interesting how many of us in life cannot bring ourselves to acknowledge certain things. It doesn't make them any less true, but it's what we do because we don't want to have to grapple with or come to terms with the reality of the depth of the pain and the suffering that is real. And when we shield ourselves from that, it's still in direct conversation with the truth of the pain and the depth of the suffering. And if we could personify it and it was this person sitting there in a chair across from you at a table, you're still across from that truth. You're still in conversation with that person. It's just that you're not making eye contact with them. And so when we look at it from that angle, or that little thought experiment, it's like, why are you averse to eye contact with anything or anybody? Why are you afraid? And what are you afraid of? And I'm seeing somebody now pulling through all these cobwebs. By the way, my psychic downloads have been, I've been inundated, and like, again, like elementals, fire, there's been all of this clearing, high vibrational clearing, and I'm now permanently rooted in at least a 6th dimensional space, and I'm more or less just operating my 3D physical avatar while being in this anchoring space. It's a huge transition for me, but it's beautiful, and it's something, talked about this in my rant from the 7th 2 nights ago. It's something that's very interesting because I meet it every day in the present moment, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was always going to be like this. I'm aware of what's happening, but it's staggering. And it's like, if I've been praying for certain things to happen in my life for years, and if there were certain things that are happening now had happened 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to handle it or understand it. It would have been, so anyway, I'm just also putting that out there for a reminder about the pace of integration and the pace of expansion, and how that's very divinely guided, and it's your mind is the last one to know. If you think it's going to make sense and you're going to feel on top of your game and it's going to be like super empowering that's not always the case. Not to say you shouldn't feel empowered, blah blah blah, but anyway, back to that vision. I was just saying they've been expanding a lot, coming through with a lot of visions. So it was like digging through these layers of cobweb to try to find the root of the fear, and you will find little like post-its or zip ties or things that you kind of have to stop, read the post-it, crumple it up, put it away. Yeah, it's a detail about the reason for the attachment, or the zip tie, right? Excuse me, they're so cumbersome to release from things. Those zip ties are pretty ironclad. You need scissors or wire cutters to get them off. And that takes a little bit more work and attention and patience. And I've been noticing something within myself with like small tasks of the hands. I don't even know, like literally physically unknotting a necklace chain. Not my favorite thing to do. It's so annoying. Sometimes I put them all to the side and I get a bunch together until I go see my mother, and then I'm like, can you help me with all of these? Because I don't like doing that. Another thing, like small tasks of the hands, is me mixing the wet food with the dry kibble for my dogs, twice a day meals. And if I do it too fast, the wet food will kind of splurge out the dry kiblets and they'll go over the edge, and I don't like that because then I have to pick them up, or else like it will attract ants and everything. You know how it goes. So I have to be very like methodical and like just slow with how I mix it. And this is a message that is a kind of a nutshell of a greater experience that I'm having, that I think a lot of people might relate to, or a few people could relate to, or you could relate to whenever you watch this. But it's like a heightened sensory experience of everything that it's like, again, mirroring of this emotional transparency that's starting to saturate into our realities that we have no choice but to honor. So you have to kind of sort of maybe potentially go through a little bit of a gauntlet first to understand why is my world the way it is? How have I gotten to this point? What does it mean? And then again, with the cobwebs, sifting through, untying the zip ties, all of that. There's that emotional, but there's also this physical, spiritual thing happening with our senses and our perceptions, where we're no longer as numb as we used to be. And I remember lots of different points throughout my awakening and healing journey, and different like plateaus and levels of understanding things. All of a sudden I'd be like, I can't believe, and it's only after I make a change. When I don't make the change, I don't have the realization. But when I'm bold enough to take a leap of faith and drop a bad habit or do something in a new way, and I reap the benefit of that, only then do I look back and get the gift of realizing just how stuck I was, or just how misled I was for thinking I had to persevere in a dead-end avenue, or in a impulse that was driven out of an illusion of me trying to protect myself, back to that primal instinct of how we navigate the world and respond to our instincts. And so the glory and the benefit of this is that you might be feeling into a lot of things that do not necessarily like sit well in your body. Stretching is good, but also always remember that with intention and mindfulness, you can use your breath to do clearing in your physical body without moving at all, with just breathing and focusing. There's a lot of, I had very interesting dreams last night that were messages around the collective energies, and I was waking up thinking I should record that, but I didn't want to. I decided not to. And then I'm also being reminded right now of a video that I took on May 20th when I was sharing a dream, and it wasn't really anything. I shared it because I thought it was comedic, but it was like, you know, snippets of music, and I was like, Japan, honeybees, spiders. Japan yesterday on the Lions Gate experienced a 7.1 magnitude earthquake at the lower level where we reside in linear time in the third dimension as these days pass. What happened yesterday and what yesterday was, as far as the cosmic clock, the Mayan calendar, ancient prophecy, it's like a big tidal wave. It's like an earthquake. It's like something shifted, but that can have this ripple out, and we will be experiencing the effects of it for months now. I mean, for the rest of time, right? Things happen instantaneously in the energy. If something was divined or initiated at the highest levels in higher dimensions from the monad, or like from a godhead of source creator, and it ripples down, it takes a while to fully affect the way that the physical world is crystallizing, and there's a lot of potential even within that. And I think that's counterintuitive for a lot of people that don't think on a multidimensional level on a daily basis, where it's like things seem hectic, you know, you might feel even more out of control rather than more empowered because of external instability and evidence of instability around you. But I've said this before in former videos, it's actually indicative of the fact that nothing is or ever was as fixed as we perceive it to be. And you have a lot of sovereign, autonomous ability to feel into the present moment, honor it, see it for what it is, and then also project out, visualize yourself doing different, being different, moving in different ways to partake in the energy that you're breathing, you know, sustaining you every single day, and use that like a tool. And I'm seeing butter and eggs getting whipped up in an egg beater, so a special little recipe, right? That process for you is going to be potentially different than other people's, and that's the beauty of it. And it's sort of philosophies around your compass, your keys. You have all of the keys inside of you. I said that in the ramble from 2 nights ago, but it's sort of not to disempower anybody who has made a splash in the spiritual scene. So there's this very like necessary dethroning of the guru, to just understand that we're all on the same level playing field. I always come back to the analogy of seeing our essences and the way that we take up space as points on a grid or cells within graph paper. It's all weighted equally, and it's sort of, that's the holographic nature of reality. We all have the same awareness. It's the 0 point nothingness of just returning to this place where before you arrived at that place, you see your experiences in your life like they were a play, and you can see yourself using that pure, clear, crystalline awareness of nothingness with these films and these overlays on it that were cast onto it by the experiences that you had. And that's the purpose of life. There's nothing wrong with that. But if the soul has agreed to remove those veneers at any point in time, then that will start to happen, and the conscious mind will have to get on board with it eventually. And that's it. And that's it. I've reached my destination, and it's raining, and I'm gonna go get misted on a little bit. It's actually kind of beautiful. I'm excited to get rained on to start my day. Just a little sprinkle from the heavens. What do you think, Matt? All right. I hope that everybody's doing well. I did reopen my card readings and like virtual healing sessions. So if you're interested in receiving one of those, I should get the people that I've done readings for to provide testimonials or reviews or something so that you can read about how they impact people. But I have an ability to, regardless of what you're going through, who you are, or where you're at, tap into people's energy and understand not necessarily all of the granular details about what is going on with you and what has happened to you, but the root, like if all of that could collapse down into an essence or a feeling, I can see, feel, and understand that with pure clarity and receive messages about it. So it will feel like I'm speaking about things that I don't know about that pertain to what it is that you want, what it is that you're trying to release, and what it is that your higher self is trying to administer in your life, that there's a blockage between fully allowing. And they're highly affordable, especially for what I'll be charging in the not so distant future. So take advantage of that if you would like to, and if you feel like it's resonant for you, and have a wonderful day.